Hello, everybody, and welcome to Partners for Quality. We are honored to have Secretary Arkoosh and Deputy Secretary Ahrens, as well as Representative Dan Miller, thank you, and all of you who have joined us today as we raise awareness to the needs of the people we support in our organization. The Partners for Quality family is a nonprofit agency provides supports to more than 4,000 people in Allegheny and Washington County. Since 1975, our subsidiary, Citizen Care, has supported people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and autism within their communities through residential and community-based supports. In addition, we also provide community-based behavioral and mental health needs to children and adults through two other subsidiaries, Allegheny Children's Initiative and Milestone. Milestone also serves people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and autism, known as IDA. We want to thank Governor Shapiro and his leadership and budgetary commitment to increase rates so that these three community-based organizations will be better able to provide supports to more people and stabilize direct care staffing for our future. Citizen Care, Allegheny Children's Initiative, and Milestone are desperately underfunded. I want to take this opportunity to raise awareness to our direct care professionals who are in this room and their starting salary is $15 and $17 respectively. These wages are woefully low for the work that these direct care professionals do. Receiving well over 40 hours a year of training, they assist and manage a range of personal care for individuals, help them build community relationships, manage medical conditions, deliver medication, and operate adaptive equipment, including modified vans able to transport people in wheelchairs. Think of needing all of these skills and having responsibilities for another person's health, well-being, and getting paid $15 an hour. Even with overtime, the take-home pay is around $650 per week. Let me repeat that. $650 per week. You can receive the same hourly wage for stocking shelves. Don't even think about it, my staff. Don't even think about it. Our employees know this, but they choose to work here instead because they see the difference that they make. Our direct care professionals are very special people, and so are the individuals that they care for. We are extremely thankful to Governor Shapiro, Secretary Arkoosh, and Deputy Secretary Ahrens for recognizing the critical need of our IDA programs in the proposed budget of $483 million in state and federal funding within this new budget. Presently, Governor Shapiro's budget includes $100 million in adult mental health services, $60 million in continued investment for county-based mental health programs, $100 million in school-based mental health funding, supporting collaborative school and community-based treatment. While we are appreciative of this proposed funding, the community-based mental health system needs regulatory reform in order to be sustainable, which includes decreasing administrative burden, reducing barriers to access for care, advocating for the funding that reflects true cost and for meaningful and transparent service models, amending the intensive behavioral health services regulations to address access issues and payment equity, and also to resolve the CMS telehealth issues and to ensure broad access. Currently, this is a proposed budget, and it will require bipartisan support in order to pass it. I have strong confidence that our legislators on both sides of this aisle can see how important it is to the people we serve and our employees who care for them. I encourage everyone here today to contact your community legislators and let them know why this budget must be passed as soon as possible. 3 years ago, when our rates increased by a small fraction, we reinvested more than 100% of this increase to our direct care workforce salaries. They are essential to our organization and, more importantly, to the people with IDA and mental health needs that they support. We have implemented efficiencies over the past few years, from not filling open positions to tapping into our investments. In addition, we've had to reduce the amount of people we're able to serve. Because of inadequate rates and skyrocketing inflation, Citizen Care, Allegheny Children's Initiative, and Milestone faces a significant deficit. As a medium-sized agency, we are not able to maintain these budget deficits and yet continue to provide services to people in need who live in our community. Our direct care professionals cannot feed their families, pay their bills on this wage with the current rates allow. Lastly, I want to acknowledge our community employers who are here today, who work with us every single day to integrate the people we support into our workforce and our communities. I hope you visit the table and have some yummy stuff, because it's all over there. Thank you, Secretary Arkoosh, Deputy Secretary Ahrens, for being here today. You have been great supporters of our organization, the people we support, their families, and our employees, all of whom you have heard today through their own personal stories. Now, it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce Secretary Arkoosh. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Maggie, thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and I have so enjoyed my visit here so far today. I've had the opportunity to meet some incredible staff. Your passion and dedication to this work comes through loud and clear, and I want to thank all the folks from Voices for Change who I got to meet with a few minutes ago to hear your stories. And I just really appreciate your honesty and your self-advocacy. I can't think of anything more important than each of you sharing how you feel and what you need and holding people like me accountable. And I appreciate that, and that's what I expect you to do, and I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to hear all of you today, so thank you. I am hopeful that this advocacy work that we can do together not only increases IDA investments, as Maggie outlined for you, but increases county-based funding and crisis services funding in this year's budget. To Maggie's point, the governor is looking at this holistically and working to make sure that all of these areas are receiving much-needed increases in funding. Pennsylvania has the opportunity right now to help so many of our friends and neighbors and loved ones. I'm so glad that Representative Miller is here joining us today in this conversation. He has been a passionate advocate for years, and we're really grateful for his multi-year support on this. And I also want to thank the local partners and the community organizations who are represented here today. Your support for Pennsylvanians with intellectual disabilities and autism and people with behavioral health needs is vital, and we appreciate your being here today as well. The Pennsylvania Department of Human Services oversees our Medicaid program, which, among other responsibilities, provides support and services to help adults with intellectual disabilities and autism live with dignity and independence among their families and peers, pursue a job or other goals, and live an everyday life like everyone else does. These are values that we hold close in our work to strengthen services and supports to Pennsylvanians with intellectual disabilities and autism, their families, and their caregivers. And I just want to thank Deputy Secretary Kristin Ahrens, who's been at this work for many years, and she is unflagging in her support and her ability to lift up the needs of this community and really fight. She shares your passion and then some to make sure that this community has the resources that you need and deserve. But as you all know, people with intellectual disabilities and autism often have to wait to access the supports they need because these services have never been funded to allow everyone to access the care when they need it. There is a waiting list for home and community-based services, and it's common for people to wait years before being enrolled in a home and community-based services waiver. Many other states have waiting lists too. Pennsylvania is not alone. But how we've been doing things is not working, and it is long past time for it to change. Our system of care and the dedicated professionals who serve Pennsylvanians with disabilities are and should be a bridge to successful everyday lives. Ensuring people receive the right services at the right time, not when capacity allows, is key to building this bridge and helping people live how they deserve. We need to end our adult emergency waiting list, and Governor Shapiro's 2024-25 budget will give us the foundation to make this transformative change. The governor's proposed budget is the start of a multi-year growth strategy to expand access to home and community-based services and effectively end the emergency waiting list for adults. Currently, services are provided through waiver slots, which sets a maximum number of people who can be served by each county. This allows very little flexibility to meet individual needs and limits counties' abilities to be strategic to maximize the delivery of services. As a former county commissioner for 8 years, I know firsthand how challenging this slot structure could be. I often received extremely difficult calls from parents desperate for help and for support they deserved for their children, and oftentimes there was nothing that I could do. Moving forward, a county's capacity will be allocated by an overall budget rather than just designated slots, giving more flexibility to serve people based on an individual's current needs. Additionally, we're investing in capacity in these programs. DHS recently expanded capacity to serve an additional 1,650 individuals based on current program availability. And the governor's 24-25 budget will add capacity for at least 1,500 more people. But investments in capacity are just one part of this commitment. As everyone in this room knows, this work is not possible without service providers and direct support professionals who help put these values into action through their work every single day. Their work makes these investments and the progress that we're making possible. We cannot improve access to services without also supporting the people who provide that care and that support. Direct support professionals are at the heart of this work, and we must recognize their commitment and their impact. As many of you know, last fall, Governor Shapiro heard you loud and clear and directed the Department of Human Services to begin an immediate evaluation and assessment of the rates paid to intellectual disability and autism programs that employ direct support professionals. We know the workforce landscape is still challenging, and we need to be sure that providers are reimbursed at a rate that keeps up with the cost of operations, as Maggie very clearly talked about. And they need to be able to pay wages that help people who choose this service field build a career and support themselves and their families. That's why the 2024-25 budget will invest a total of $483 million in federal and state funds to support rate increases that, if this budget is passed, will take effect July 1st of 2024. But we can't make this progress alone. This is a proposed budget, and so support from the General Assembly is essential to make this vision and these investments a reality. I'm excited to be joined here today by Representative Dan Miller, who I know is championing this budget and working hard with his colleagues on both sides of the aisle to try to make sure that this budget gets passed. I'm happy to work with him on this critical and necessary leap forward, and you can hear from him yourself. I'm happy to turn the podium over to Representative Miller.
Okay, good afternoon. How y'all doing? Everybody okay? Yes? I'll tell you what, this is a good day. I loved to be able to come up here and so appreciate the words of Secretary Arkoosh. I'm telling you, I saw some of you like taking a little bit almost notes. This is an important day. This is an important budget. We should be listening to what the Secretary is saying about the Shapiro-Davis budget plan. And in relation to the disability items that we're talking about, these are things that are game changers that need to happen. These are things that so many of us have been waiting to happen. We're not talking about creating new programs, really. We're talking about making sure our promises are kept. And that means that the programs that you said would be there need to be there. In order for that to happen, the workers who provide that critical, essential service have to be able to afford to do the work. Look, we've a lot of good people who've worked in Harrisburg. I've been there for several budgets now. But I will tell you, in the past 18 months, I've never had more conversation with the governor and their staff regarding disability and mental health combined than I have in the last 18 months thereabouts with Governor Shapiro and his team. I know that they care. I'm excited to be fighting for this budget. And I did appreciate some of the comments where we're talking about working on both sides of the aisle. Yes, right? That is the goal. That is the goal. We definitely need to do that. And of course, as the majority whip in the House for the Democrats, I can assure you that every one of my caucus is not only there to vote for these line items. We're there to vote for the entire package. We're there to get it done. We're there to get it done soon. We don't want July 1st. If we can beat it, we look to beat it. But we do need in this Commonwealth to come together. There's no doubt about it. And that's what Governor Shapiro talks about. And what we do know is that disability and mental health, there's no demographic that attaches to it. It doesn't matter. I was just actually in a meeting today with a gentleman who I know has a yard sign that is diametrically opposed to what I would post up. But you know what he came to talk to me about? Mental health. And I can't tell you time and time again how this occurs, because disability and mental health hold no demographic line. The governor knows it. His team knows it. And we need Harrisburg to know that. And it does a lot more than just showing up and saying, you know what, I'm going to take a picture with somebody who's in a wheelchair or any type of assistive technology. That is not what people need. You don't need the pics. Don't need the graphics. Don't need the little hashtag. We need the vote out of Harrisburg, and that's what has to happen. So promises to keep. That's what the governor's budget is all about, and that's what these line items are all about. And look, I want to pause before I just be sure to pass on the mic to just say to all the workers in particular, thank you. Thank you for what you do, okay? So whether you're direct care, direct support, it doesn't matter. My son had his first job this summer as a teenager, and he made just under $15 an hour. And he did good work, and he's learned to sweat and get his hands dirty. That was good. And as much as I appreciate that experience for him, and I'm so glad he did it, it was not life-sustaining work. It's just not what he's qualified to do. And nobody should be paid anywhere close to that wage when you're doing this type of work. How many times have we heard the stories about people saying, look, I'd like to be at work today, but my car is broken. I'd like to be at work today, but something else has financially come up that makes it impossible for that to work. Time and time again, this is the reality. The governor's moving us in the right direction. We're not going to be there yet. All right, there is work to be done. And as the good secretary mentioned, we have lists that need to be eliminated. There's no doubt about that. Nothing will be eliminated unless the workers are there to be able to provide those critical services. And the workers can't be there when you're paying them poverty wages for the work that they're doing. You can't, with all respect to the good work done at Target and Dick's and those great jobs, you can't expect the life-sustaining work that the direct care and direct support workers are doing to be paid at the same rates as if they were just doing good work at Target, okay? That's not the same. That's not the same. And we're going to get there because this is the start of the direction. We have to go above. We have to be higher. We're going to get there together with it. The Shapiro-Davis budget is on the right step. There's no doubt about it. We're going to work to get get a big bipartisan vote. That is the goal. But one way or the other, no matter how this budget gets through, the budget must include these line items as suggested by the Secretary and Governor Shapiro to make a difference for not only those who are doing the work, but those who are needing the work, those who have been promised to work, those who have been waiting for the work. We have to deliver. So thank you very much for letting me be here today. And yes, now we're going to hear from, who's Sandy? Sandy? Sandy. Yes. Okay. Sandy, help me out. Ersick, who's from Citizen Care Direct Support Professional.
Yes.
Yes, is that true?
That's true.
All right, well then you're in. Okay.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to thank everyone for coming today. And I've been a direct support professional for about 12 years now with Citizen Care. And I will probably get emotional because I am passionate about what I do. I enjoy every day to wake up and make a difference in someone's life. The problem is that you'll get a good coworker and she has kids, and she has bills to pay. And all of a sudden, you're back working alone again. I've worked in every aspect of the company. I've worked from residential to exceptional adventures. Julie is here today. I've worked with the travel part. I am now doing HAB and community participation. I have a little success story that's going to speak behind me, after me, that a year ago, she would not have been able to do this. She would not have gotten up and spoken in front of a crowd of people this large. She's wonderful, and I have so many success stories. But I would like to have more successes. I see so many dedicated employees working hard and having to leave because they have children to raise and they can't afford daycare. It's cheaper for them to stay home and have one spouse work than it is to work and afford daycare and medical care. This is my purpose, is this job. I just enjoy my job so much. And I try to mentor others and bring them along with me, but it's very hard when I know they have bills to pay. This is just, I love my people. I just love them to death. And I will stay in this job because I'm dedicated. And I'll make the cuts, and I will budget and do without a few things so that my folks can have the support that they deserve and the support that they need. I am very grateful for my management team, which supports me in no matter what aspect. Other companies would not support their support team like my company does. That is one of the things that make me stay. And I am so grateful to hear such good news from everybody back here that it may be getting better. And that is my hope. And I am going to turn it over to Claire. She is my success story. This is Miss Claire Knapp. Me and Claire have had a relationship for about a year now. We started going out with HAB, right? Yep. About a year ago. Yep. And you have made such progress. You are my success story, and I am so proud that you've earned your wings and you're flying and you have a bright future. Go ahead, Claire. Take it away, baby. I knew I was going to cry. I told him not to do this. I got it. Thank you, Maggie.
Sorry. The most important thing for me is accessibility to bathrooms, because it's really hard for me to get into bathrooms in public where it's not accessible for me. And then,
Okay, take a breath. What about, okay, we went to the Capitol and you had a hard time with accessibility at the Capitol. Okay.
and I had to walk around.
It felt like miles.
Yeah.
It felt like miles, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like miles.
So,
And then, how about looking for an apartment?
and then I also have trouble, and I'm waiting on the waiting list for an apartment for supports
Claire.
and stuff.
Did you have a problem with in the Capitol? Is that what you said?
Like the restrooms,
In the
Yeah.
Capitol?
At the
Yeah.
Capitol building, yes.
In the state Capitol?
Yes.
Okay.
We were there 2-3 months, when were we there? 3 months
Like
ago?
3 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, we came for Capitol Days.
Yeah, and it was tough, right?
Yep.
Okay. You know what? I'm so glad that you told everybody that too. We're working on that now, and so when you're done, I'd love to be sure to share some ideas with you.
Awesome.
But this is exactly what we're talking about, because it's your building too, right? And you need to be in there, right, and have
Yeah.
full access to it, right?
Yep, yep.
So we're glad you were there. That was really good. So thanks for coming up, all right?
You're welcome.
Okay. Did you want to tell them about how long have you been on a waiting list, Claire?
For about a year and a half now.
For affordable housing?
Yep.
And independent living?
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, and what else did you want to talk about? I forgot. I'm more nervous than you are.
Employment.
Oh, yes.
Trying to find an employment with a disability. It took me like 4 to 5 months to find jobs.
To find a job at Giant Eagle, which is not your dream job.
Right, correct.
Right.
Of course,
So-
it's not.
So through your HAB process, we're going to be making goals to find you a more competitive,
Happy and competitive
competitive
and
job?
and stuff like that.
so that you are happy where you work and you
Yeah.
don't have to just work anywhere,
Yeah,
right?
correct. Correct.
You should have been up here with me for the first part of the speech. Because we're a team, right?
Yep.
Are we a team?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Thank everyone for coming.
Thank you.
So I got to talk with Claire for a little while, a few minutes ago, and I just want to pick up on this issue at the Capitol. You know, Claire and many of the folks that you see here in the gray T-shirts came to the Capitol recently. And first of all, there's really only one like truly accessible entrance to the Capitol. And I can tell you, I don't know about the men's rooms, but the ladies' restrooms are incredibly small. The stalls are incredibly narrow. They're very hard to get into. And with Claire's assistive device, just literally getting in the doors is quite difficult. I mean, I could just tell by looking at her device, knowing how narrow they are, that it would have been difficult. These are things that so many of us are privileged enough to just not have to think about as we go through our days, but they're absolute barriers for people like Claire and so many other folks here. And it's really on us, Representative Miller, to work down these things together to try to fix these things. I know you're trying to get some of these things fixed, and we just have to keep at it. Yep, he's got a plan. So Claire, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with me. I really hope you get your apartment soon. I know you're going to be successful in your job and that you'll continue to grow and get even a better job and a job that you really want to have. So thank you. It's really a pleasure. All right, next I want to introduce Rebecca Bayer, a family member and a life-sharing provider, and she can tell you about life-sharing for those of you who don't know what it is.
Good afternoon. I have only been involved with the life-sharing program here at Citizens Care since March. However, I have been involved in this IDD community that we share for decades. I have adopted 5 children, all with excessive disabilities, mental as well as physical, as well as medical, and it's very challenging to go anywhere, I can tell you that. The thing that prompted me to look into the life-sharing program was the MCC waiver that is now available. And I can't tell you how I think that's going to change the face of providing care for everyone. It's a truly, truly encompassing waiver. And I think there are certain stipulations. Obviously, you have to have medical conditions, et cetera. I think, however, for the children out there, as well as those kids that are getting ready to age out, there's no other waiver that addresses their needs to the extent that the MCC does. So I am very grateful. And I would have never enrolled in a life-sharing program if I had not run up against some fairly significant obstacles myself. And as a single parent with 4 children with multiple disabilities, it does get to be cumbersome at best. Sleep is a thing of the past, as well as entertainment, enjoyment, etc. I get much joy from my children. However, without the assistance of the waiver programs that are available, I would not be able to survive. And I can tell you that to get into the waiver programs was a struggle. It was extremely difficult. It didn't happen overnight. My eldest son, who was one of the first people in Allegheny County to get any type of waiver, we battled very, very, very long and very hard to get him the services that he needs, but because of his association with Staunton Clinic and the folks that he associated himself with, we were able to get those care needs that he had taken care of. And I think it's just a marvelous way to go about serving the needs of the kids that can't speak for themselves. I mean, most of these kids can't speak for themselves. A lot of them don't have any idea that there's another world out there, and it is on us to present options to them. So thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Rebecca, thank you so much. And again, you hear the passion and you hear the need for expanding these waivers and making sure that people can get the right services at the right time and not have to be on a waiting list. So, Rebecca, thank you so much for all that you've done. And next, I'd like to welcome Claire Chakemboy. Claire's from ASA Gymnastics, and she will be sharing with us her experience as an employer.
Hiring persons supported has proven to be beneficial for All-Star Athletics because the employees are reliable, they take pride in their work, are valued by both us as their employer and their colleagues. They provide the same quality of work and are often more reliable than other outside hires. Competitive employment is important because persons supported engage in a part of life that many of us take for granted. Their employment helps them feel value and supplements their income so that they can make choices in their lives they might not otherwise have without their jobs. I'd like to point out that job coaches are an invaluable resources to assist the person supported in learning, growth, and success in their meaningful employment. I encourage other employers in this economy where filling open positions is difficult to consider exploring hiring persons supported in your community. You just might be surprised at the value it brings to your business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claire. You know, I think that there's a lot of employers out there who think about hiring somebody with a particular challenge in their life, but they're nervous about it. And it's so important to hear from employers like Claire, who not only has it been a success for them, they're some of your most valued employees. And so thank you for speaking publicly about that. Thank you for helping to open up the hearts and minds of other employers that not only is this the right thing to do for a person, but it might be the right business decision too. And that's really what this is all about. Competitive integrated employment makes such a difference for everyone involved. So thanks so much to all of our speakers. You are amazing and inspirational, and I am hopeful with your advocacy we're going to get this done. So as this budget process moves forward, please continue to lift up your voices. This is by no means a done deal. As I always say to everyone, the governor proposes the budget, the General Assembly has to pass it. And so we can't let up until the ink is dry on this budget. So please reach out to your representatives, to your state senators, let them know how important this is that we get this budget across the finish line. I mentioned earlier that a lot of states have waiting lists. 2/3 of states currently have waiting lists for home and community-based services. If Pennsylvania begins to eliminate our waiting lists by growing our program through these investments and more responsive management, we will be a national leader in this space. And you know our governor likes to get stuff done, so let's put this one on the list. Pennsylvanians with intellectual disabilities and autism deserve this. We are going to keep working toward this goal, to eliminate barriers to services and to make fulfilling everyday lives available to every single person who lives in this community and all communities across the Commonwealth. Thank you again for joining us today, and to Partners for Quality for all you do for your community, for your partnership and for your advocacy, and for hosting all of us today. And we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.